The Bronx, my hometown. Like I said a couple times here on the channel, home to multiple things. Home to the home where hip hop was made, and also home to one of the most iconic franchises in all of sports in the New York Yankees. But what if the Bronx had a college football team? Hmm. What if? Well, today's the day. The Bronxville Wolfpack, located in the BX, that is where this brand new series would take place. But that's not all there is to it in this series. I know some of you guys are probably looking at the left bottom corner of the screen and wondering why is the left corner black and blue. We'll get to that point later on in the video. But for the Bronx, they're looking to actually dominate college football the way how they did college basketball. We've seen the Sinister Six, and by the time this video is uploaded, it's my birthday, and the Sinister Six season 2 already tipped off. But now the Bronxville Wolfpack was a team that I created right after I created Compton. So this basically is going to be a whole factory reset on an entire universe. That includes the NFL. So here's how things are going to go. The Bronxville Wolfpack will be, of course, located in the conference. Now, the conference that I have in mind, you guys will see how that's going to be designed in a second. It's going to be completely different. But I mean to tell you, this is going to be a college football series that you guys have never seen before. Or an original idea made by yours truly that I feel like no other person on in YouTube is doing this. Only here on the channel. So if you guys are new, man, subscribe. Because I'm the only YouTuber that has come up with this type of idea for this game. Now, I knew eventually down the line I wasn't gonna just sit back and not play NCAA 06, one of my favorite games of all time. But of course, I created a team from the Bronx. As you see, you guys are seeing their uniforms. We'll get to the key players later on in the video. But now I have to show you guys the other aspect. The other team that will be Bronxville's rivalry, in which, in a way, reuniting an old rivalry that goes on in New York City. If you are part of these two boroughs, you understand the rivalry. What better borough than Brooklyn? The Bronx and Brooklyn, their rivalry goes back years, years, like years. People from Brooklyn don't like people from the Bronx. People from the Bronx don't like people from Brooklyn. But why not initiate that rivalry even more? We have the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks, and that's a one-sided rivalry. We have the Mets and the Yankees, that's also a one-sided rivalry. No one really cares about the Jets and Giants anymore in the year 2025. So how about we have two boroughs from college football? Brooklyn and the Bronx going back and forth. As I introduce y'all to the Brooklyn Lightning, we get into their situation later on in the video also. But Brooklyn will be also in the same conference as Bronxville. So this would be an annual rivalry between Brooklyn and the Bronx. Now, Bronxville is the main team of this entire series. They're the main team. But from time to time, I will play as the Brooklyn Lightning, and also I will kind of help them out in terms of recruiting just to up the rivalry a little bit. Because, you might have some people who are from Brooklyn going to play with the Brooklyn Lightning just to get back at the Bronx. And we're going to have people who are from the Bronx playing with the Bronx to go up against Brooklyn. So, in a way, this is kind of going to be, well, similar to this rivalry, Florida State in a way. But except this is two boroughs, two of the most iconic boroughs in the entire city, with the most historic history. So why not settle it football style, in which I named their shit Biggie Field, home of Biggie Smalls, R.I.P. So that's basically where Brooklyn's gonna be playing. Brooklyn's gonna be playing in Brooklyn, while the Bronx play in the Bronx. Both of these teams will be in the same exact conference, so there could be a chance that we see two of these teams in the conference championship game. Now, again, I know some of you guys are speculating. What conference do I mean? What do I mean by what conference, or what? By this whole new conference system that I'm talking about. I know you guys are very curious, but like I said, I have to show you guys the teams first before we go into the full conference design. I have to show you guys the teams, but the main two teams being Brooklyn and the Bronx. But first, let's start off with the main characters. Let's start off with the Bronx, and then we're gonna go to Brooklyn. Then I'm gonna show y'all the conference. Now on to the Bronxville Wolfpack to start off. The main team, led by impact player Tim Davis, 85 overall, and he's a sophomore. Then their starting quarterback, Daniel Grisby, left-handed quarterback, 88 overall. He's a sophomore redshirt. So that's already two key star players of this entire team. Now, the Bronxville Wolfpack will be more of an offensive team, more of powerful on the running game and the passing game. However, they do have some stars on defense. Jonas Franklin sitting in at an 84 overall and is a junior. He is their best corner, and don't sleep in the secondary because this secondary can get interceptions. And left outside linebacker Kevin Dorsey, being a senior, he's the impact player on defense. Then of course the running back, the hometown kid, Drew Jones, grew up a couple blocks away from Bronxville University, in which now he is one of the best running backs in the nation, along as Tim Davis, like he was one of the best wide receivers in the nation, in the state, alongside with a fellow companion you guys will see later on in the video when we're talking about Brooklyn. Now, like I said, Bronxville is an offense, a strong offense, in which a lot of people within the city are assuming that the kings of the of New York college football will be no other than the Bronxville Wolfpack. A lot of people believe that the Wolfpack will be the best receiving and the best offense in the entire nation at some point down the line, because they're the heavily favorites. Let's be honest here. Bronxville are the heavily favorites in a lot of these games. As you see, Franklin again makes a key play, and Grisby is gonna have some signs where he is a little bit shooken up, where his team shows signs that they're young in the terms of Division One football, but with a brand new conference and a brand new rival in Brooklyn, this could be their opportunity and their chance to show what they can do, because these two teams could eventually take over the entire college football world and change the whole game in terms of college football. Because at some point, people talk about how Alabama is strong with Alabama and Auburn and all of that, Florida State, and all of that. But Brooklyn and the Bronx are looking to transcend New York football forever and change it forever with this rivalry. And Bronxville is looking to get a lot of people on their side, because a lot of people from the Bronx are already rooting for them, and a lot of people within the city thinks that the Bronxville Wolfpack will be the team to beat for years to come, and they'll be one of the top teams overall in the entire nation. For the expectations of Bronxville, their expectations are high, because, like I said, they're expecting in a couple years to perhaps fight for a national championship or maybe be in a New Year's Six bowl. That's the expectation that a lot of people see Bronxville being in, because of the squad that they have, and especially with the young offense and a young quarterback, and also Kevin Kraft. He's a backup quarterback. Don't know if he's going to get redshirted, but he's looking like he could be the future of the Bronxville Wolfpack. So Bronxville already kind of got their key star players for the next 3-4 seasons, and that puts a lot of pressure on Brooklyn, because Brooklyn got to do the same thing. Speaking about Brooklyn, before we start talking about Brooklyn, we first got to discuss the rival Tim Davis. Like I said, Tim Davis was one of the best wide receivers in in the city, but sitting right next to him, not behind him, next to him, is star wide receiver for Brooklyn, David Cox. 84 overall, sophomore. He is their impact player. Now, we officially head to the Brooklyn side of things. The Brooklyn Lightning, led by quarterback Zach Brown, 82 overall, sophomore. They're looking to prove that they're not going to be the little brothers in this rivalry. A lot of people predict that Brooklyn is going to be the underdogs majority of the time. But one thing that Brooklyn believes in is that them and the Bronx are going to be two completely different teams. They are two completely different teams. Brooklyn mainly focuses on defense. That is mainly their goal. Their goal is to stop you defensively and depend on a game managing quarterback and a game managing offense that when needed could get the job done and get the dub. Like I said, there's gonna be some games where I play as Brooklyn, and the main team is going to be Bronxville. Now, like I said, with Brooklyn, they're gonna be running a run first offense, equivalent going up against the pass first offense that is basically Bronxville. So like I said, these two teams are completely two different opposite teams, and both of these teams are going to be very fun to watch, and this is going to be a rivalry that's going to shake up college football for years to come. But a lot of people believe that Brooklyn could potentially be up there with Bronxville, but Bronxville's expectations are possible New Year's Six, possible one of the best teams overall in the nation. For Brooklyn, people see them as a team that's probably going to try their best to not be in second place to Bronxville each and every single time. And if you know the rivalry between Brooklyn and the Bronx, Brooklyn don't like to be second to anyone, let alone the BX. Again, someone who's from the Bronx, that's basically how the rivalry is. And they have some star safeties, two safeties. That's gonna be a absolute problem. Like I said, they focus on defense. But one of the safeties is Billy Buckles. Billy Buckles, free safety, 87 overall. Then of course you have Rob Longshore. He will be the starting running back. Like I said, a run first offense. So like I said, kind of the opposite of the offense for the Bronxville Wolfpack. And like I said, you cannot sleep on this defense. You can't sleep on the star freshman end. You cannot sleep on the corners. You can't sleep on the linebackers. Like I said, this could be this could be a very dangerous team, a team that could possibly have Bronxville's number. But like I said, both teams are great in their own respective rights. Like I said, we playing as both teams. And it's going to be a fun, entertaining series of rivalry between these two squads to determine who's going to be the true king of college football in New York City. And this is going to be a rivalry that a lot of people are going to have fun watching. A lot of people that's going to be very entertained and intrigued, because both teams are going to be making some mistakes in the beginning, but when recruiting happens and everyone gets their key players and everyone gets the new star players and all of that, because in terms of New York recruiting, Brooklyn and the Bronx will be competing to see who will get the most recruits in the city, or more importantly, their pipeline. But more importantly, New York City, because Brooklyn could have some people who want to commit to the Bronx in Brooklyn, go to Brooklyn, and the Bronx could have the same thing, vice versa, creating more of a big recruiting and on-field rivalry. So it's more of both teams are fighting for players and both teams are fighting a spot in the college football world. Now we are about to get down to the conferences. Now sit down for this one, because this was going to be a lot to explain. So listen up. All right. So now we're going to get down to this. Like I said, the conferences are going to be different. I already made the head coaches. So of course, we have ourselves the Bronxville head coach. Like I said, the main team of this entire series. His name would be Joe Pun. Mixing Fat Joe and Big Pun together. Then Brooklyn's coach would be called Biggie Smoke, mixing in Biggie Smalls and Pop Smoke. R.I.P. both of them, and R.I.P. Big Pun. But here's what I mean by the conference is going to be completely different and it's going to be completely revamped. You guys saw a little bit of a preview of it before I decided, you know what, take some time and really do it. Like I said, HBCU schools, Akron State, Appalachian State, Florida A&M, Jackson State, Bronxville, of course, Eastern Michigan stays, Kent State stays, Grambling State, Northern Illinois will stay, Ohio, Southern, Brooklyn. Those are the teams in the MAC conference, meaning we get a chance to see Brooklyn and Bronxville every single year for sure. I kept 4 teams that are already in the MAC just to keep some of the original teams, and I added some HBCU schools in there too to make things a little more interesting. So like I said, this should be a fun series. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road, and let's do this. Gun Dynasty. Like I said, we're gonna I'm gonna play every single. Here's how we're gonna do things. I'm gonna play every single game as the Wolfpack. Every single game I play is the Wolfpack, including of course Brooklyn versus the Bronxville. And I already said I'm playing as Bronxville for that rivalry. That's gonna be the main team I'm gonna be playing as because they're the main team this entire series. But I will be playing 6 Brooklyn games. Each season I'll pick 6 games out of the 12 game schedule, play as Brooklyn for those games, and then we'll see how that goes. So a grand total of season 1, plus the bowl games and the plus the bowl games, the conference championship game, and the regular season, probably have a grand total of 20 games. 21 games. 22 games in a season for this. So we have ourselves a lot of games. We're going to be playing a lot of episodes. So season 1 might be like a good 2 months long. I ain't going to hold you, bro. I'm not even going to hold you. But let's go into the schedule. As you see, Indiana, Grambling State, Penn State is currently their normal schedules. But we're going to change. They're going to Brooklyn. I bet. But of course, we're going to change things. Here's how we're going to do it. Bronxville will play the first 2 games of the season. The first 2 weeks of the season. Brooklyn, they'll play the last 2. So, before we dive into that, of course, I'm going to show you guys who they're going to be facing. So, 1 second. So, for the first episode, I will be out later on in the day. Like I said, it's my birthday. So, why not? We're going to do 5, 6. Alright, these are the schedules for both teams. First episode, I'll be out later on the day against number 9 LSU in Baton Rouge. So Bronxville's first game is in Death Valley. That's going to be a challenging game. Then first game they take on Indiana, but I could change that to another ranked game. Actually, let's go up against Michigan. Actually, where is... No, Rutgers. Okay. Alright, so number 9 LSU, then Indiana. First home game of the season at Grambling State. At number 1 USC, the most broken team in the entire game. Against Eastern Michigan. At Alcorn State. Against Louisville. Against Ohio. Bye. Then against Southern. Then against Northern Illinois. Then away at Brooklyn. That's going to be the matchup that's going to be the most anticipated in the entire season. Then at Appalachian State. Then that's it. They're done. So the senior day would be against Northern Illinois. Now on to the Brooklyn side of things. Brooklyn will go away to take on Virginia. Then they're at Southern. That's a conference game. Then they're against Syracuse. At Miami. Then against Jackson State. Against Appalachian State. Bye. Then at Florida A&M. Then against Kent State. Then at Eastern Michigan. Then against Bronxville at home. Bye. At Northern Illinois. And then senior day would be against number 14 Georgia. And that's how we'll kick things off. Yeah, that is exactly how we'll kick things off. Yes, I'll like to keep the schedule, and of course in advance I'll show you guys some of the team, so that as well. Actually, you guys saw part of them in the intro, but this is some of the people who were part of the series, as you can see. Stack squad, of course, got Tim Davis, 85 overall. Most of everyone on this team is young, with the offensive linemen, of course, all the veterans, but I feel like they have some future in the ends position. Linebacker room, all of them are old. Actually, it's mainly everyone in this defense are old, basically. Well, not old, but more like they're about to leave. Because they have 9 seniors, and 9 seniors and 17 juniors. They have a young team mainly, but their defense is the old ones. But then we got Zach Brown, sophomore. He's actually, second in the MAC. Then got Bob Longshore. We already talked about him earlier in the video. David Cox, we already definitely talked about him earlier in the video. Him being one of the star wide receivers. Him and Tim Davis. Them two being close in terms of 2 of the best wide receivers in the city. Both of them playing for their respective boroughs. Again, it's the same situation. Ryan Clark, we say he gonna be a problem. He gonna be a beast. He's a freshman, only a freshman. So at least he have that. Like I said, Brooklyn's main focus is gonna be defense, while Bronxville is going to be focused on more of an offense point of view. So like I said, I'm going to be playing as all 12 games for the Bronx, and then 6 games as Brooklyn. Then for the Brooklyn versus Bronx game, I'm obviously playing as the Bronx. What, you think I'm not going to play? I'm not going up against my own fucking borough? No, I'm not going against my own borough. Well, alright, now into the recruiting process. First, actually, let's start off in New York. Why not? Something a little interesting. Oh wow, actually a lot of people. They only got 12 recruits though. There's a 4-star, however. A couple 4 stars, a couple 5 stars. We could put some of the people being from New York. Cause like I said, I'm recruiting for both sides. So just to add more flair to it, because you might not know, when both of them competing, one player, like I said, I don't determine where the players go. I don't determine. You guys have seen players that I really want go somewhere else. And imagine, or especially the ride with the Bronx and Brooklyn. Imagine one player wants to go to Brooklyn and another player wants to go to the Bronx, contemplating about which borough they want to go to, and they side with one borough over the other. Create some more animosity towards the rivalry. Gotta think about it like that. Gotta think about it like that. Then, of course, gonna go all the way to some of the best players in the nation. I said that was a glitch. Alright. Let's go with who the Bronx really need. Tackle, because a lot of people. So you got a lot of old people, a lot of people who are already seniors. So I got a couple people from Cali, Louisiana, Ohio. Why not? Why not expand? Why not expand? Why not expand? Them they're gonna focus on running back. Possibly giving Zach Brown more weapons also. Possibility giving him more weapons. Alright, it's in terms of recruiting. Both schools have their respective recruiting. Now, on to the polls. We're all at the bottom. Most of the conference all at the bottom, isn't it? You guys are in the top 25. We're all at the bottom, aren't we? We're all at the bottom. All at the bottom. We're all at the bottom. We're all the way at the bottom. Yep. All the way at the bottom. Kind of figured. So meaning these two teams are gonna have to get out the mud. And both of them being the same division, meaning whoever wins their respective rivalry, I don't know, whoever wins that rivalry will most likely go to the conference championship game. So it adds more pressure to the rivalry, though. Adds more pressure. So in a way, kind of like Ohio State, Michigan. Both Ohio State and Michigan in the same division. Whoever wins that, and again, equivalent to Alabama or LSU or Auburn. In Auburn, Alabama, because let's say Auburn, Alabama are close, and one team got to win the division in order for them to go to the SEC championship game, that rivalry will determine who goes to the SEC championship game. Equivalent to this. Whoever wins this rivalry goes to the MAC. Like I said, I'm going to be helping Brooklyn out recruit some players. I'm going to be playing as both teams. But in the rivalry, I'm playing as the Bronx. So. Alright. That's really it. That's honestly it. The first episode of the entire series will be out later on in the day, but quick review check on everyone in the rosters, just for you guys to get a glimpse of everyone else one more time before we end today's episode. Well, not today's episode, but like earlier in the day. Like I said, it's your boy's birthday. We're gonna put the first episode, the first game. So the game LSU versus Bronxville, that's gonna be out later on in the day, along with the national championship for UConn. So we're gonna have that out. We're gonna have those two videos out. I said it's a stacked B-Day for your boy. It's a stacked B-Day for your boy. So might as well start off with a bang. Start off something new and something fresh. And I figured I wasn't going to stay away from this game for too long. This is one of my favorite games of all time. And I love the Compton series. And also, we could be doing something with Madden 06 in terms of a rivalry. Oh, we could do two rivalry teams. We could do that again. But I don't know if I want to do New York. Well, another New York versus New York, because we have Jets Giants. So I don't want to feel like I'm replacing those two teams. So I could do another state and do that rivalry there. Or probably do... I don't know. I gotta think about it. Your boy gotta think about it. I'm pretty sure I'll come up with an idea eventually. I like how I came up with the idea with this. But other than that, man, sheesh. Well, let's do this real quick. All right, we're obviously gonna be playing the first game for them. We're gonna be playing the first home game, back-to-back games actually. We'll play. Let's see. Jackson State. Let me see. 5-6. Alright, that's fair. That's fair. Like I said, half the game. So Southern, Jackson State, Appalachian State, Kent State, Eastern Michigan. Those are going to be up to the computer. Then Northern Illinois, Georgia, Bronxville. Yeah. Then, of course, like I said, for Bronx, we're playing all their games. All of their games. And USC is going to be a game we're definitely going to be looking out for, because, sheesh. We'll take on LSU and Baton Rouge. That'll be next episode, man. Alright, like, comment, so you guys do the channel. But in case you guys know, I see you next episode for Bronxville's first game, and they're looking to replicate what the Sinister Six did with college basketball, with college football. I'll see you guys on the field. Like, comment, sub, guys, to the channel bell in case you guys are new. And I'll see you guys later on the day. And yeah, today's your boy's 21st birthday, so expect banger videos. Let's do this. See you guys later. Peace.